It's that time again. Main Man T. Back for the Bro Code Podcast. Produced by Kennedy Lucas.
Yo, what's good, family? You're tuned into the Bro Code Podcast, where real ones link up, the vibes are always right, and the convo stays 10 toes down. I'm your host, Terry Lester, holding it down as always, but today, something feel a little different, something feel a little more fire. Because starting today, April 28th, 2025, the squad just got bigger, badder, and better. I'm hyped to introduce the newest voice to the Bro Code fam. My brother from another hustle, Wyatt Bennett in the building.
Ayo. What's poppin'? What's crackin'? Happy to be here, man. We about to set this thing OFF.
You already know. Two bros, one code, and a mic. Break it down from the block to the boardroom. Nothing but real talk and real laughs. We're talking loyalty, legacy, leveling up, and sometimes a little reckless wisdom. Why feel me?
Straight up, no filters, no cap. If it's happening in the culture, we got it. If it's making waves in the streets, we talking it. If it's messing up your group chat, we exposing it.
Facts. So sit back, tap in, and ride with us every week. Because on the Bro Code Podcast, you either live by it or you get called out by it. So Wyatt, check this out. There is no single event on the hype-infused NFL calendar that lends itself more fully to the concept of overreaction than the draft. Just about every pick is examined as a make-or-break decision for franchise that makes it, regardless of all the historical data about hit rates and any reminders issued about reigning in expectations. This year has been special. The 2025 draft featured an entire sub-industry of overreaction around one particular player who ended up being the 144th pick. When round one passed Thursday night and Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders was still on the board, Friday's NFL discourse became all about why. When the second and third rounds ended Friday night and Sanders still hadn't been drafted, the discourse was on fire. Was this personal? Had Sanders' camp mismanaged the process to the point that teams were hesitant to take him? 5 quarterbacks went in the first 3 rounds. One of them was Dylan Gabriel, who was ranked no, 217 overall by ESPN Scouts Incorporated. Something had to be up, right? At last, the Browns ended our long national nightmare when they traded up to take Sanders with the 6th pick of the 5th round. Cleveland had long made sense as a Sanders destination, but since the Browns were the team that took Gabriel at the tail end of round 3, Saturday opened with some skepticism about whether Sanders was still a possibility. Cleveland's quarterback room now includes Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders. That's 3 first-round picks and 2 rookies, which is kind of amazing when you step back and think about it. The Browns also have been considered a possible trade destination for veteran Kirk Cousins, who remains on the Falcons roster as a very expensive projected backup to Michael Penix Jr. How that all sorts itself out remains to be seen, but at least Sanders knows where he gets to go to work and try to prove to the NFL that he's better than the no. 144 pick. He also gets the privilege of kicking off our annual draft overreactions column. This was a sentiment I heard from multiple people in the NFL on Saturday morning. One, Sanders hadn't been picked in the first 3 rounds. The thinking was that going undrafted would have allowed him to pick his own team and negotiate his own contract. The 144th pick in last year's draft got a 4-year deal worth a total of $4.369 million. Undrafted players sign 3-year deals and therefore can get to free agency sooner than drafted players can. Had Sanders not been drafted Saturday, he could have steered his way to a place where he could compete for the starting job, and, if he won it and played well, could have been in position for a big money extension 2 years from now. Every year, there are players and agents who get to the 6th and 7th rounds and start hoping they don't get picked because going undrafted gives them more freedom.
It's an interesting idea, for sure. And if Sanders had been picked by a team such as the Chiefs, Bengals, or Chargers teams with cemented starting quarterbacks in place, I probably would have agreed with it. But Cleveland offers Sanders an opportunity to compete for and win the starting job right away. Watson, who had another surgery on his right Achilles tendon, might not play much this season, if at all. Unseating Flacco, Pickett and Gabriel shouldn't be an impossible task if Sanders is the pro-ready prospect he believes himself to be. This is a young man who, because of the family into which he was born and the way his career has been curated so far, has not known life as any kind of underdog. It remains to be seen how he'll handle it, but we've seen plenty of quarterbacks and players at other positions who have used their draft tumbles as fuel and motivation. If Sanders can do that, the Browns offer him a chance to make a lot of people look foolish. The Giants traded up in the first round to get Dart, the quarterback they decided was their favorite in this draft, outside of Cam Ward, after a full and thorough evaluation of the field. Dart doesn't have to start right away. The Giants signed veterans Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston for that reason. After finally getting out from under the Daniel Jones pick/extension fiasco, Daboll has the opportunity to groom and develop the quarterback of his choosing. Whether Dart plays Week 1, Week 9, or not at all in 2025, it stands to reason the Giants will want to give Daboll and Sean a long enough runway with the kid to see if he can be their quarterback of the future, even if that runway extends into 2026. It's a logical conclusion to reach, and it could turn out to be the case. But history tells us drafting a first-round quarterback is absolutely no guarantee of job security. This time last year, Matt Eberflus, Bears, and Jared Mayo, Patriots, were coaches of teams that drafted first-round quarterbacks, and both are gone. As are their offensive coordinators, before you come at me with that point. Frank Reich, Panthers; Urban Meyer, Jaguars; Matt Nagy, Bears; again, Anthony Lynn, Chargers; Pat Shurmur, Giants; Jay Gruden, Washington; Hugh Jackson, Browns; Todd Bowles, Jets; and Steve Wilkes, Cardinals. All were fired within a year of selecting a first-round quarterback, and that list only goes back to 2018. The Daboll/Dart connection might very well be what resurrects the Giants franchise. The coach and the QB both appear to have the talent to make it work. But if 2025 goes badly, there's plenty of recent history that tells us hope for the future isn't enough to save a coach's job.
The Jaguars have a new coach and GM, and the bold trade-up for Hunter on the first night of the draft signals an aggressive approach with the goal of changing the fortunes of a team that picks in the top 5 way too often. But while GM James Gladstone and Coach Liam Cohen have the mandate and ability to change a lot of things, they're more or less stuck with Lawrence, whose contract includes $37 million fully guaranteed in 2026 and $29 million fully guaranteed in 2027. So the reason to pick Hunter, the two-way star out of Colorado whom they can deploy as both a wide receiver and a cornerback, is at least partly to provide more passing game help for Lawrence, along with brilliant 2024 first-round pick Brian Thomas Jr. Lawrence might not have delivered on his stratospheric promise just yet. He has thrown 69 touchdown passes and 46 interceptions in his first 4 seasons, but he's far from a lost cause. He doesn't even turn 26 until October. He needs to get and stay consistently healthy, and it's tough to see how Hunter can help with that. Assuming Lawrence is on the field, he should enjoy having Hunter as a reliable downfield target. Plus, to whatever extent the face of the franchise pressure that comes with being a no, one pick and getting a $55 million per year contract extension has affected Lawrence, Hunter will help with that too. Given how special a player Hunter is, and the likelihood that his two-way abilities will captivate the league and the Jaguars fan base, he has a good chance to become the most talked-about player on the team in short order. Maybe he's a kind of attention vacuum who eases some of the pressure on Lawrence to function as the franchise savior. Many were surprised when the Steelers selected defensive tackle Derek Harmon with the no. 21 pick, given their glaring need for a quarterback and the fact that only one had been selected at that point. They didn't pick again until the 19th pick of the 3rd round because they had traded their 2nd-round pick for DK Metcalf, and by then, only 2 more quarterbacks had been selected. They went with running back Caleb Johnson there. In the 4th round, Pittsburgh took edge rusher Jack Sawyer, and in the 5th, it took defensive tackle Yehia Black. With Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson as the only quarterbacks on the roster, and the franchise still awaiting an answer from veteran free agent Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers didn't select a quarterback until Howard with the 9th pick of the 6th round. You can but Tom Brady me all you want. And sure, Howard could develop into something, but pick no. 185 is backup country. I just can't rip the Steelers for not forcing a quarterback. They did exactly that 3 years ago when they selected Kenny Pickett in the first round of a draft in which no other quarterbacks went before the third round. Whiffing on Pickett is a big part of the reason they find themselves in their current quarterback pickle. If there had been a guy there at 21, or even at 83, whom they truly believed in as their long-term franchise QB, they should absolutely have taken him. But clearly, there was not. And the Steelers have repeatedly told us they believe they still have avenues for addressing the position between now and the start of the season. They still believe there's a good chance they end up with Rodgers. If they don't get him, they could ring up the Falcons and ask about Kirk Cousins. Rudolph is a player they like a lot more than people outside of their building seem to, and they point to the fact that he helped rescue their season and lead them to playoffs just 2 years ago. Next year's draft quarterback class is expected to be richer in talent than this year's was. And if they can patch the 2025 season together with some combination of Rodgers, Cousins/Rudolph type veterans, it's possible they can fix the long-term issue a year from now. It's the Steelers, everybody. We know they'll find a way to win more games than they lose.
After signing for $100 million in guaranteed money with the Falcons in free agency last year, Cousins was stunned when Atlanta drafted Michael Penix Jr. in the top 10 of the 2024 draft. Cousins' poor performance and the Falcons' late-season slide led to him being benched for Penix, who was Atlanta's projected starting quarterback for 2025. The team did not release Cousins ahead of free agency and has said publicly it's comfortable with him being Penix's backup. Privately, the Falcons have entertained trade proposals from other teams but have so far insisted on acquiring teams picking up a significant portion of the $37.5 million in guaranteed money still remaining on his contract, and that's a big reason he hasn't been dealt. With free agency and now the draft having come and gone, it's fair to wonder whether Cousins will end up being traded this offseason or whether he'll have to wait until next spring to get loose from his current situation. It's not over. The Steelers still need a guy. Maybe the Browns aren't done collecting QBs. Maybe the Colts get through OTAs and don't feel great about Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. Somebody, somewhere could get hurt in minicamp and open up a spot. Cousins' contract includes a full no-trade clause, and even if the Falcons came up with a trade, he wasn't going to approve one until after the draft because he didn't want the same thing to happen to him this year that happened last year. Now, with the draft over, he and Atlanta can regroup and see whether there's anything out there that makes sense. It's still possible there is. Meanwhile, Terry, the one pick in last year's draft, Williams and the Bears endured a difficult 2024 season that saw coach Matt Eberflus get fired before it was over. Chicago finished 5-12 and was the only team in its division that did not reach the playoffs. The Bears hired offensive coordinator Ben Johnson away from division rival Detroit to be their coach and hopefully find a way to get the best out of Williams in 2025 and moving forward. They beefed up the interior of their offensive line right away in free agency. And they used their first 3 picks of this draft on offensive players. The goal is clearly to make life easier for Williams as he continues to develop and to find a way to challenge for a playoff spot in the league's toughest division. While Johnson is obviously improving as a head coach, he has established himself as one of the league's most creative and effective offensive play designers and play callers. The Bears' offense already had talented pass-catching options in wide receivers D.J. Moore and Rome Odunze, tight end Cole Kmet, and running back DeAndre Swift, and the first 2 rounds of this draft brought them tight end Colston Loveland and wide receiver Luther Burden III. For good measure, they used the second of their 2 second-round picks on offensive tackle Ozzie Trapilo. If the protection holds up, Williams is going to have a ton of places he can go with the ball on any particular play, and with Johnson drawing the plays up, this could be as exciting an offense as there is in the league. There's always a team that goes from last place to first place in its division from one year to the next. And while the presence of the Lions, Vikings, and Packers in their division might well prevent the Bears from being that, if they improve enough to contend for a playoff spot, it'll probably be because Williams and all of those offensive targets have lit up the scoreboard week in and week out.
More news on the NFL Wyatt. The NFL is looking into how Shedeur Sanders' private phone number was leaked and used for a prank call during day 2 of the draft, a league official told ESPN's Adam Schefter on Sunday. As Sanders continued to go undrafted through Friday's day 2, a video surfaced on social media of the quarterback receiving a call from someone impersonating New Orleans Saints general manager Mickey Loomis. "It's been a long wait, man," the person said. "We're going to take you with our next pick, man, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that." The person hung up the phone, and a confused Sanders told the crowd gathered for his draft party. "What does that mean?" In a conference call with Cleveland area reporters after he was drafted by the Browns in the 5th round Saturday, Sanders said he wasn't bothered by the prank call. "It didn't really have an impact on me," Sanders said, "because it was just like, okay, like I don't feed into negativity or I don't feed into that stuff you've seen on Deion Sanders Jr.'s YouTube video. My reaction to it, it is what it is. I think, of course, it is childish. Of course, I feel like it was a childish act, but everybody does childish things here and there." New Colts tight end Tyler Warren received a prank call before he was elected in the 1st round by Indianapolis, a league source told ESPN's Stephen Holder. The source indicated other players received prank calls as well, but did not provide any names. Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Kyle McCord also referenced receiving prank calls before he was drafted in the 6th round Saturday. McCord said he had been getting prank calls from Philadelphia area numbers during the final day of the draft. Following the Sanders prank call, the video showed his draft party watching as the Saints selected former Louisville quarterback Tyler Shaw with the 40th pick. In another video, Sanders said he was given a private phone from Boost Mobile for the draft and that the number was given only to NFL personnel. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski criticized the prank caller Saturday, saying people are morons and calling the situation sad. Sanders' slide ended when the Browns traded up to select him with the 144th pick. He was the 6th quarterback selected in the draft and the second that Cleveland took. The Browns selected former Oregon standout Dylan Gabriel with the 94th pick Friday night.
The 2024-25 NBA playoffs are in full swing, and our NBA insiders have you covered for every game in the march to the finals. On Saturday, the No. 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder became the first team to advance to the 2nd round after defeating the No. 8 seed Memphis Grizzlies. The No. 4 seed Denver Nuggets evened the series with the No. 5 seed LA Clippers after an exciting Game 4, which ended with a game-winning buzzer beater from Aaron Gordon. The No. 7 seed Golden State Warriors went ahead 2-1 in the series in their first game at home against the No. 2 seed Houston Rockets without Jimmy Butler 3. Sunday, the No. 3 seed Los Angeles Lakers are now down 3-1 after they lost Game 4 on the road to the No. 6 seed Minnesota Timberwolves. They'll have a chance to bounce back in Game 5 on Wednesday in Los Angeles. As the West playoffs continue, here's what matters most and what to watch for in all 4 series. Minnesota outscored the Lakers 32-19 in the 4th quarter and 19-9 in the final 5:06 to take a 3-1 lead in the series. This was a monumental missed opportunity for L.A. After the Lakers failed to protect a 10-point first-quarter lead and went into the half trailing by 4, Coach J.J. Redick made his first major lineup adjustment of the series by benching Jackson Hayes to start the 3rd, with Dorian Finney-Smith in his place. That group used a 14-0 run out of the break to fuel a 36-23 quarter. But Redick kept those 5 players in for all 24 minutes of the second half. Anthony Edwards scored 24 of his 43 points after halftime, outshining another brilliant effort from LeBron James, 27 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Luka Doncic bounced back to form with 38 points after a stomach bug sabotaged his Game 3 effort, but he had 4 turnovers and James had 3, including one trying to inbound the ball to Doncic trailing by 1 with 10.7 seconds left. Rui Hachimura had his best game of the series, 23 points, 5 rebounds, and Austin Reeves made up for a scoreless first half to score 17 in the second, but his potential tying 3 missed at the buzzer. What kind of fight the Lakers will have left in them? They put themselves in a position to win both games in Minnesota but couldn't close out either. L.A. should get a lift from its home crowd, but the Wolves are a confident team and based on how they came in and stole Game 1 at Crypto.com Arena, there's no reason to think they will be intimidated by the atmosphere. Overall top-seeded Oklahoma City made quick work of Memphis, sweeping the Grizzlies, who haven't won a playoff series since 2022 and didn't beat a Western Conference team with a winning record after January. Likely MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had his first efficient scoring performance of the series in the finale, finishing with 38 points on 13 of 24 shooting. With Ja Morant out, the Grizzlies couldn't handle the Thunder's tenacious defensive pressure, committing 22 turnovers that Oklahoma City converted into 32 points. Now, the Thunder will get some rest and await the winner of the Nuggets-Clippers series. Nikola Jokic is about the only player in the world who can post consecutive triple-doubles in a playoff game and have people saying the opposing team was doing a good job on him. Saturday, with Denver's season hanging in the balance, he turned in his finest performance of the postseason, a 36-point, 21-rebound masterpiece to carry his team to a win. The first half was close, as Jokic was facilitating for others. But at halftime, he kicked it into another gear, scoring or assisting on 26 of the Nuggets' 35 points in the third quarter to stake Denver to a 20-point lead. The Nuggets found their championship medal in this game and threw it away in the fourth quarter, blowing the biggest lead in playoff franchise history. Denver escaped as Aaron Gordon miraculously caught an air ball from Jokic and dunked it at the buzzer for the win. Wow! The Clippers weren't known as a great three-point shooting team this season. So while they shot lights out in Game 3, 18 of 39, their overconfidence from behind the arc sank them Saturday in Game 4. LA hit just 10 of 30 from behind the arc. Some of that was because Denver played much better defense, aggressively double-teaming Kawhi Leonard and James Harden and forcing other players to beat them. In this game, the Clippers' supporting cast couldn't step up, and Denver evened the series with 2 days off to heal up before Game 5 at home. The Warriors have enough to win a playoff game without playoff Jimmy. In perhaps their gutsiest performance of the season, the Warriors took a 2-1 lead in this best-of-7 series by overcoming a 13-point deficit with Butler out. Stephen Curry responded with 36 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds. He got hot in the third quarter with 12 must-have points. But in the fourth quarter, when the Warriors needed others to step up, Gary Payton II emerged. With Houston focusing so much defensive attention on Curry, Payton, 16 points, got loose for a few layups and a three, scoring 9 straight points for the Warriors at one point to help Golden State pull away. Buddy Hield had one of his best games as a Warrior with 17 points and 5 threes. Quentin Post and Jonathan Kuminga, 7 points, started with Butler out due to his deep glute contusion, and Post grabbed 12 rebounds. Draymond Green anchored the Warriors' defense and clamped down on Houston, holding the Rockets to 22 points in the fourth quarter and containing Jalen Green to 9 points after his 38-point explosion in Game 2. Houston has shown an inability to hurt Golden State on the offensive side in its 2 losses. With Butler a possibility to return in Game 4 on Monday with 5 days to recover, the Warriors have a chance to put the Rockets into a potential 3-1 hole if they hold serve at home.
Golden State certainly felt Butler's absence on offense, especially in the second quarter, when the Warriors stumbled through a stretch of scoring just 6 points over nearly 7 minutes to start the frame. Curry performed brilliantly in compensating for production lost with Butler sidelined. Curry logged his 8th career 30-point outing against the Rockets in playoffs, while the Warriors' defense locked the clamps on Houston's Jalen Green. Still, Butler's recovery and availability for Game 4 on Monday will be closely monitored, especially with the Warriors eyeing opportunity to seize a 2-game lead and serious momentum in this series. If Butler returns for Game 4, Golden State has a real shot at pushing Houston to the brink of elimination. Next on the Bro Code podcast, Wyatt, we are shifting things into gaming. One Cyberpunk 2077 player has recently encountered a bizarre bug that teleported them halfway across the Watson district, putting them face-to-face with a creepy Judy. The unusual incident, which later gained some traction on social media, serves as a reminder that no software is ever truly bug-free, even if it enjoyed years of polishing the way Cyberpunk 2077 did. While CD Projekt Red's sci-fi RPG had an infamously troubled launch, those days are long behind it. Nowadays, Cyberpunk 2077 is a radically different game with a bunch of new content, a plethora of quality-of-life improvements, and completely reworked leveling mechanics that are nearly unprecedented in scope for a single-player title. Nevertheless, no software is ever completely free of bugs, and Cyberpunk 2077 still has some edge case scenarios that can lead to weirdness. Reddit user Curlin_ can attest to this fact, having recently found themselves spirited away after pulling over in front of the Afterlife, the iconic bar that's a starting point for many of the game's quests. Mere moments after they exited their light blue Quadra Turbo R740, something went terribly wrong, and the game quickly transitioned to a loading screen. Next thing they know, they're standing in front of the window of Judy's apartment, located on the opposite north side of Watson. Making the situation even more memorable was the fact that Judy was weirdly lit and had an uncanny expression once the game loaded, which led some Cyberpunk 2077 fans reacting to the bug to dub her Creepy Judy. Rolling back the footage shared by Curlin_frame by frame, it would appear that their V was forcefully launched into the air while trying to approach the Afterlife, and that the teleportation only triggered after they reached a certain height and essentially caused the entire map to unload. What's less clear is why the game sent them to Judy's apartment rather than any other location in Cyberpunk 2077's rendition of Night City. The bizarre bug was presumably encountered on PC, as the button prompt seen in the gameplay footage shared by Curlin_reference keyboard and mouse controls, which the console versions of the game have technically supported since 2022 as well. That said, whatever weird interaction caused the teleportation to occur might also be affecting other platforms. Since this seems to be the first known report of the issue, the chances of it ever being patched appear slim, as it is presumably unlikely to materialize. That said, Cyberpunk 2077 has received enough unexpected patches after its support was supposed to be over that it's impossible to rule out anything with certainty.
So Eve played this game as well as everyone the last few days. Bethesda games have never been known for having particularly fancy graphics, but The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion Remastered is quite the looker. Though it's often overshadowed by its best-selling younger sibling Skyrim, whose Scandinavian-inspired landscapes have become synonymous with the identity of modern Elder Scrolls, Oblivion's setting is inspired and striking, and it has never looked better than in this facelifted remake. Unlike Skyrim, which is centered on the harshness and Spartan lifestyles of the Nordic race, The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion Remastered hones in on the pastoral beauty of the countryside. Exploration is a decidedly peaceful experience, but is nevertheless evocative, and this is as true in the original Oblivion as it is in the remake. But it's undeniable that 2000 SIXS Oblivion is rather dated from a visual perspective, even if its bloom-drenched, overly saturated environments do carry a certain charm. Though there were concerns that the remaster would spoil this old-school charm, that's not the case at all. Oblivion Remastered presents the definitive version of Cyrodiil, and it's a veritable piece of eye candy that will make even the most jaded gamers experience a sense of wonder as they traipse through its fields, forests, and rolling hills. Separated from Skyrim by the Jarrow Mountains, Cyrodiil's visual identity is decidedly different from that of its northern cousin. Whereas Skyrim is cold and hardy, Cyrodiil is lush, vibrant, and seemingly teeming with life. Its mild climate allows for a greater degree of delicate plant and animal life, quite unlike the frosty tundras of Tamriel's northern regions, not to mention the hot, arid expanses of Morrowind. The original Oblivion depicted these unique natural landscapes with the help of heavy bloom and unnaturally bright, cool colors, which was an effective strategy at the time, but Oblivion Remastered offers a softer touch. When Oblivion Remastered screenshots first leaked, some fans expressed concerns about the game's relatively muted color palette. These concerns weren't totally unfounded, as there have been plenty of examples of remasters and remakes that sacrifice style in favor of graphical fidelity and realism. But this isn't the case with Oblivion Remastered, which is merely more subtle than the original, not less impactful or stylish. In fact, the lack of bloom and extreme saturation makes Cyrodiil's natural vistas and cities more striking, as strong colors are much more prominent due to the comparably duller colors elsewhere. This goes hand in hand with the greater level of detail in Oblivion Remastered, which breathes new life into its environments rather than suffocating them in realism. This is to say nothing of the more dramatically stylized parts of the game, like the Plains of Oblivion. These ethereal, horrifying locations are more evocative than ever in Oblivion Remastered, which uses modern lighting and visual effects to create a darker, more dynamic, disturbing atmosphere. The graphical enhancements go a long way toward elevating the Geiger-inspired architecture of these hellish locales, as its structures are able to look far more grotesque and flesh-like. Lighting and VFX do a lot of heavy lifting in Oblivion Remastered, generally speaking. Sunlight and moonlight illuminate the environment in myriad ways, replacing the ubiquitous bloom effects of the original with more varied reflections, filtered light, and individual rays, thereby creating a more vivid, dense, rich atmosphere for players to soak in. Beyond simply looking pretty, this allows Oblivion Remastered to present a vision of Cyrodiil that is more emotionally affecting, tickling sensations of fear, awe, wonder, and whimsy in ways that the original's more archaic visual style never could.
Fam, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Bro Code Podcast. Big love to everybody who rock with us. Y'all know we keep it real, we keep it raw, and we keep it respectful. It's your boy Terry Lester signing off, but before I dip, let me introduce the newest brother to the squad, my guy Wyatt Bennett.
Yes, sir. Appreciate the love, Terry. I'm hyped to be here, man, and trust, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. We just getting started.
You heard the man. This new era of Bro Code gonna be even bigger, even better, and even brotherlier, if that's even a word. Laughs. Listen, we're here for the culture, we're here for the community, and we're here to keep you locked in every single week with that real talk you can feel.
Facts. So don't play yourself. Make sure you hit that subscribe, tap in with us, and tell yo cousin, yo barber, yo mama's favorite neighbor. Everybody.
Word. Catch us next time. Same vibe, new energy, only on the Bro Code Podcast. Stay loyal, stay locked, and always honor the code. We out. Victory and...
It's that time again. Main Man T. Back for the Bro Code Podcast. Produced by Kennedy Lucas.